Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 6 of In the Know with Mr. O. I got to start keeping a tally on these as I keep continuing up, or else I'm going to forget what episode I'm on. But in this episode, I wanted to kind of talk about a combination of the previous episodes that we had, more specifically the one on student engagement and the one on artificial intelligence. What we kind of have seen after the COVID era is that, as students are going through school, that engagement kind of decreases. And you have to think of what COVID did. Being able to go to school online, even for a year and a half period, in some cases 2 years for some school districts, students were able to have their personal belongings around. A lot of students did school in their bedroom, even if it was at a specified place in their house. They were still able to get up, move around, and you got to remember, being in a building and required to be at a place for a certain amount of time is a lot different than being at home, where you grow up and where you live mostly and where you feel most comfortable, right? So what we've seen is this lack of engagement. And a Gallup poll just came out where it polled about 1 million students. And students in 5th grade are about 75% engaged. By the time students reach 12th grade, there's a 34% engagement. Now, that is kind of standard. You will see that dip down normally, but not necessarily to that degree of 41 percentage points, and not necessarily that sharp of a dip going down. And even if it was that way in the past, why does it have to continue to be that way for the future? Schools need to retool, and we need to get to a place where engagement can happen, and that has to start organically from the ground up. That has to start in our classrooms with our teachers and us supporting them in the best way possible. And that's where a lot of things with AI come in, right? A lot of teachers today are post-baby boomer era teachers, meaning that myself included, I was near the tail end of that baby boomer retirement, but a lot of the teachers that are of the baby boomer age were retiring by the time I was getting into the field of education. So a lot of teachers have already been teaching for about 19, 20, 25 years and up for the most part. A lot of teachers end up teaching like they're taught, which is no fault of their own, but that way of learning is falling by the wayside with the sort of attention spans that are changing that we've talked about in previous episodes. There's a lot of different things out there and studies out there that are showing that these attention spans where students are spending 2 things at the same time, such as you talking on the phone and driving in your car, that requires a lot of cognitive depth, and sometimes the mind can get stressed out doing that. So cell phones and trying to learn at the same time, are going to create this type of dichotomy. So what a lot of teachers need to do is they can use AI and even just simple searches online to kind of figure out, how could I make a lesson more interactive? When you take that student inventory that I talk about, use that inventory in those questions. How do I design a lesson around a class that has interests in X, Y, and Z? And how do I enhance it to make it more engaging and interactive where my outcome wants to be this? You putting that depth of a prompt in there and then continuing to pare down that prompt with more questions can create you a project, a lesson, idea that can ignite it. And you can't be worried about not covering the curriculum in that aspect, because what you're doing right there is covering it. And the next day you could actually get to the foundation work and it'll hit that light bulb in the kids' heads. Okay. As I always say, feel free to reach out to me to go through, some of these items. I'm willing to work with any educator about giving you ideas, how to even walk you through the use of AI. But what that'll also do for some of you, walking through AI, that'll help you be able to engage AI in the classroom where you could have more control over it, be able to roll it out to students because we know they're going to want to use it, right? And then what you're going to be able to do is have more of a control, bring those students back to that foundational center that we all know that everybody needs, maintain the autonomy, and most importantly, the critical thinking, okay? Have any questions, as I said, always reach out to me. I'm always here for you. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of In the Know with Mr. O.